In the dark recesses of the year 2397, in a future filled with faction wars and societies crumbling into dystopian nightmares, amidst the cold expanse of the far reaches of the Milky Way, a tale of horror and despair unfolded. The tragic odyssey of Romaz Yampor, a soldier forged in the crucible of experimentation and betrayal, attempts to find his way back to civilization, fighting through his torment and real-life dangers in his pursuit of answers. The sterile hum of machinery filled the air as Romaz Yampor stirred from the depths of unconsciousness. Blinking against the harsh light, he found himself shackled to a metallic slab. His limbs restrained by cold, unyielding restraints. Panic surged through him as fragmented memories clawed at the edges of his mind. Faces of loved ones, moments of laughter, now distant echoes in the void of his consciousness. Where am I? Romaz's voice was hoarse, barely a whisper, amidst the oppressive silence of the room. A voice crackled to life over an intercom, cold and devoid of life. Subject designation: Romaz Yampor. Experimentation phase initiated. Prepare for augmentation. Before Romaz could comprehend the meaning of the ominous words, searing pain lanced through his body as needles pierced his flesh, injecting him with unknown substances. His screams echoed off the sterile walls as his vision blurred and darkness consumed him once more. When Romaz awoke again, he found himself in a different room, his body pulsating with a strange purple energy. Cybernetic implants adorned his limbs, gleaming with an otherworldly light. With a surge of strength, fueled by fear and confusion, he somehow broke free from his restraints, snapping them clean off, his mind racing with questions like, where did this strength come from? As he stumbled through the corridors of the starship, Romaz encountered other test subjects, twisted abominations of flesh and metal located in dark cells, trapped and adorned with tattoos of their pain. Their eyes vacant yet filled with unspeakable malice. With each encounter, he was forced to confront horrors beyond what he thought was possible, his every instinct screaming for survival. In an apparent previous life, his species, the Quasar, were just starting to reach out into the galaxy. So what happened in between that led him to his current, horror-fueled predicament? But amidst the chaos, a glimmer of light beckoned. The control room, the heart of the starship, where answers awaited. With determination burning in his veins, Romaz pressed forward, his cybernetic implant pulsating with lethal intent and vicious commandment of the elements of the ship. After wasting countless guards and monstrous creatures on the way there, Romaz burst into the control room, where he was met with a sight that chilled him to his core. The crew, their faces twisted into grotesque masks of madness, their eyes gleaming with a primal hunger for destruction. Without hesitation, he unleashed the full force of his cybernetic abilities, the air crackling with energy as he engaged in a battle for control, guns firing and swords clanging. Amidst the chaotic scenes, Romaz heard the anguished cries of the crew, their pleas for mercy falling on deaf ears. With each blow, he felt a piece of himself slipping away, consumed by the primal rage that surged through him. He desperately fought with passion, vigor, and a sense of forebodement. Blood spilling, and the soldiers who were trying to kill him with intent had their life force expelled from the ferocious attacks of Romaz. But as the last of the ship's crew fell, blood was everywhere. The crew's guts sprawled all over the bulkheads. A sense of emptiness washed over Romaz, a hollow victory tinged with despair and sorrow. For amidst the carnage, he realized the true horror of his existence. He was a monster, forged in the fires of experimentation and betrayal, a pawn in a game of bodily abuse and science gone rogue. With the control room now under his command, Romaz commandeered an escape shuttle, hurtling through the void towards an unknown destination. His journey led him to a desolate rogue planet, its surface scarred by the ravages of time and neglect. As he stepped onto the barren landscape, a sense of unease washed over him, a feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. With each passing moment, the sense of dread grew stronger, until it became an oppressive weight upon his soul. But Romaz refused to yield to fear, his resolve unbroken by the horrors that surrounded him. With each step forward, he sought answers to the questions that haunted him. Who was he? What had they done to him? As Romaz ventured deeper into the desolate landscape, he stumbled upon a hidden enclave, a sanctuary for those forgotten by time. Among them stood figures shrouded in mystery, their eyes gleaming with ancient knowledge. It was then that Romaz learned the truth. He was not alone in his suffering, not the only pawn in a game of gods and monsters. The whispers of the forgotten echoed through his fractured mind, revealing fragments of a past steeped in tragedy, betrayal, and experimentation. With a heavy heart, Romaz revealed the extent of his plight. He was a soldier without a cause, a pawn in a game he could not hope to understand, and as he gazed into the abyss of his own existence, he knew that the horrors that awaited him were far worse than anything he had faced before. Within the despair, a glimmer of hope flickered within Romaz's soul, a memory long buried beneath layers of pain and anguish, a memory of a family torn apart by forces beyond their control, their faces etched into his mind like ghosts from a forgotten past. He wasn't sure what to do with the memory yet, but he knew it was bad, and a hidden group of people were to blame for this horrendous reality he found himself in. With newfound determination, Romaz vowed to uncover the truth, to reclaim his self from the abyss that threatened to consume him. For though the road ahead was fraught with danger and uncertainty, he would not falter in his quest for redemption. And so, with the echoes of the forgotten ringing in his ears, Romaz Yampor set forth into the unknown, his destiny intertwined with the fate of the cosmos. For though the horrors that awaited him were beyond comprehension, he would face them head-on, a beacon of light amidst the darkness that threatened to engulf the entire galaxy. As Romaz delved deeper into the enclave, the air grew thick with an oppressive darkness, suffocating in its intensity. Shadows danced on the edges of his vision, whispers of forgotten souls echoing through the corridors of his mind. With each step forward, Romaz felt the weight of the past bearing down upon him, a burden too heavy to bear. Memories, long buried beneath layers of pain and betrayal, clawed at the edges of his consciousness, threatening to consume him whole. But amidst the darkness, a flicker of light pierced the gloom. A figure, shrouded in shadow, its eyes gleaming with ancient knowledge, with a voice like the wind through a graveyard. It spoke, its words a chilling echo of truth.
Welcome, Romaz Yampor. to the realm of the forgotten,"
the figure intoned, its voice resonating with a power beyond comprehension.
"Here, amidst the ruins of time, you will find the answers you seek."
With trepidation coursing through his veins, Romaz pressed forward, his heart pounding in rhythm with the echoes of the Enclave. Each step brought him closer to the truth, closer to the abyss that awaited him. But as he reached the heart of the Enclave, a revelation unlike any other awaited him. The true nature of his existence laid bare before him, a horrifying truth too terrible to comprehend.
"You are not merely a soldier, Romaz Yampor,"
the figure spoke, its voice a whispered lamentation.
"You are a vessel, a conduit for powers beyond your understanding. And now, the time has come for you to embrace your destiny."
With a sinking feeling in the pit of his stomach, Romaz revealed the depths of his folly. He had been manipulated, deceived by forces beyond his understanding. And now, as he stood on the precipice of oblivion, there was no turning back. With a sense of resignation, Romaz surrendered himself to the darkness, his mind consumed by a maelstrom of fear and despair. Shadows twisted and writhed around him like ghostly apparitions, their tendrils reaching out to ensnare him in their grasp. The feeling was unbearable, and Romaz was grimacing just to keep conscious. But in the middle of all the craziness, a voice pierced the darkness, a cry of anguish, a plea for salvation. With a surge of defiance, Romaz fought against the encroaching darkness, his will unbroken by the horrors that surrounded him. With each passing moment, the Enclave grew darker, its horrors twisting and shifting like a nightmare come to life. Romaz's senses were assaulted by a cacophony of screams and whispers, almost like a collection of Death Eaters, each one a chilling reminder of the horrors that awaited him. And then, just as he thought he could bear no more, Romaz saw it. A glimmer of light in the distance, a beacon of hopefulness amidst the darkness. With renewed determination, he pressed forward, his heart pounding in rhythm with the echoes of the Enclave. As Romaz emerged from the depths of the Enclave, he found himself face to face with his greatest adversary. The figure who had guided him through the darkness, its form twisted and contorted by the power it wielded.
"You cannot escape your fate, Romaz Yampor,"
the figure stated, its voice telling an epic tale of truth.
"You are destined to serve, to become one with the darkness that surrounds you."
But Romaz refused to yield, his spirit unbroken by the horrors that threatened to consume him. With a primal roar, he unleashed the full force of his cybernetic enhancements, the air again crackling with purple energy as he faced his adversary head-on. With each blow, Romaz felt a surge of power coursing through his veins, a primal fury unleashed upon the world. But amidst the world crumbling around him, a sense of dread gnawed at the edges of his consciousness, a feeling of inevitability that threatened to engulf him whole. And then, in a final, desperate gambit, Romaz unleashed a torrent of energy, the force of his will shattering the figure's form and banishing it into the void. The energy traveled through his body into his katana-like sword, and then flew off into his enemies like a dark pulse of indoctrination. Anything the energy touched eviscerated on contact, but it meant Romaz had to recharge, and in the meantime, he fought with more conventional means, shooting with his gun and slicing with his sword as he cut through the defenses as his truth became closer to reality. Any spirits or creatures he encountered, he batted them away, like a baseball player at the plate. But, as the echoes of battle faded, a sense of emptiness washed over him. A hollow victory tinged with despair. He was still emotionally distraught and confused, knowing how many people he had killed. He was no closer to finding out what happened to him, and why he was now filled with enhancements. What was wrong with him before? As Romaz gazed into the abyss of his own existence, he realized the true horror of his plight. He was still just a pawn, a vessel for again powers beyond his understanding, a mere puppet in a planetary game of gods, monsters, and creatures beyond the veil. With a heavy heart, Romaz accepted his fate in the ghostly void he found himself in, knowing that the horrors that awaited him were far worse than anything he'd faced so far. And as he stood on the brink of the afterlife, he knew that his journey was far from over. For in the darkness that surrounded him, there were whispers of other worlds. He could see planets, other dimensions, and other realms waiting to be explored. And though the road ahead was fraught with danger and uncertainty, Romaz Yampor would face it head-on, a beacon of light amidst the darkness that threatened to consume him over and over again. As the darkness's tendrils wrapped around him, it sucked him in, engulfing his entire body and self, never to be seen again. The screams were deafening, but over time they got quieter as the last of his soul was defragmented and utterly destroyed. It was horrible to watch, as he couldn't defend himself against the black, smoky entity, and then the sound of breaking bones and lactic acid cracking was heard. The soldier will never return to his home reality. The year of 2397 had taken another good and honest soul. The dark omens of this era were winning and casting their terror over this reality's plane of existence. As we explore more of the story of the cybernetically enhanced soldier's plight, remember to check out more from this story in part 2, coming very soon to Chronicles of Ghoul. Thanks everyone for checking out this sci-fi horror story. Hope you enjoyed it. As per usual, if you would like to contribute to this channel, please feel free to like this video. Also, subscribe to the channel if you like the stories more broadly. And if you want to see all content as and when it shows up, please make sure to hit the bell so you're notified of everything that we're doing. If you'd like to send any stories that have not been placed on YouTube and also are pretty short stories, kind of maximum, I would say, 2,500 to 3,000 words, please feel free to send them to the email within the description of this and every other video on the channel. If you would like to chat, remember you can always find me in the comments. Thanks again, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you look forward to more stories coming soon from Chronicles of Ghoul. See you soon.